So, in this video, I'm going to be talking about market themes and narratives and why it is really important when it comes to currency trading. And so, market themes and narratives are critical to currency pricing because they shape investor sentiment, capital flows, and expectations, often more powerfully than raw economic data alone. Here's why market themes and narratives matter, and they drive investor behavior. So investors make decisions based on not just current data, but their interpretation of what is next. Again, buy the rumor, sell the facts, or just some extra forward guidance. Everyone can see the data, but what does that data mean for the future? So, for example, a narrative that the Fed is done hiking rates can trigger dollar weakness, even if interest rates are still high. And we had that scenario play out, and you can go back to the interest rate videos, things like dovish hikes and hawkish cuts, and you'll see what happened, when Powell did hint one time that he was done with hikes, and you see what happened to the US dollar. It basically, over the next few months, it sold off. So, number two, market themes and narratives amplify or dampen data reactions. So, the same data print can have different impacts depending on the prevailing market theme. So, if markets are focused on inflation, a hot CPI print will strengthen a currency because of course, that may lead to rate high expectations. But if the theme is a recession risk, that same print might lead to currency weakness, so growth fears. Also, as well, I do want to say that it's the reason why it's important as well to really kind of get the theme and the narrative is because uh, the central bank, for example, may be focused on, for example, jobs, right? Let's say, for example, they're a dual mandate central bank, like the Federal Reserve is, and they might be focused on, employment or unemployment. And so, if the market knows that that particular data point is what the Fed is looking at to decide whether they're going to hike or cut rates, um, all other data points might not matter so much. There's no point in necessarily trading everything else because the market knows that the Federal Reserve are particularly looking at unemployment and employment data in order to make their next move or decide whether they're going to hike, hold, or cut. So things like, looking at things like retail sales or new home builds or anything like that is just basically a waste of time because that's not going to decide, whether the Federal Reserve or any central bank is likely to make a decision on monetary policy. So it says here, traders bet on Fed cut by June, reinforced by softer inflation. So again, you're starting to see the narrative take shape, right? So traders are already betting from now. Well, basically, this article is June the 13th, 2026, and you're seeing that traders are already betting 6 months in advance due to the inflation today that the Federal Reserve may cut in June. Now, of course, the data has to support that narrative, so the inflation has to continue to fall in order for the rumor to continue to be valid. If inflation starts to rise and go the other way, then of course the rumor doesn't really have legs in a narrative, and the market theme would likely be over for the dollar, or that theme will be over for the dollar. But as long as the data supports the theme and the narrative, then of course, the market will price in rate cuts again ahead of time. So number three, market themes and narratives reflect global risk sentiment. So themes like risk on or risk off influence flows into safe haven currencies. For example, the US dollar, the Japanese yen, the Swiss franc, or risk sensitive ones. So risk on currencies like the Australian dollar, the New Zealand dollar, and emerging market FX. So for example, during global stress, COVID-19 or wars like the Ukraine Russia war, the dollar and the yen rally regardless of the US data. So the market will look past the data and just go into these safe haven currencies because historically they are seen as being quite safe. Market themes and narratives shape expectations about central banks and central bank policies. And narratives influence how markets price in future rate cuts and hikes, often well ahead of policy changes. We've seen an example of that with the inflation data, the inflation headline with cuts. And so there are other narratives, like, for example, soft landing and stagflation themes as well, that shift expectations and currency positioning. So, what soft landing is, and what if you ever see that in a headline or in an article, it refers to the economy. And so the economy, as we know, goes into a bit of a cycle, right? So you have a cycle, you have the recovery, expansion, peak, uh, contraction, recession, and then recovery, expansion, etc., right? So you have that. Now, depending on where you are, for example, in the contraction side of things, so when the market is moving to the downside, or when the business cycle is in the contraction phase, what the central bank is trying to do is create what's known as a soft landing or a hard landing, right? A hard landing would be where the economy goes into a deep recession, and they're trying to avoid that, right? The Federal Reserve and governments want is a soft landing. So basically, a bit of a smooth, there's going to be a bit of a contraction, but they may avoid a recession, or the recession might be light or not necessarily felt with, for example, high unemployment and low employment, right? So that's what a soft landing is hoping for. And as we know, when there is a contraction heading into a potential recession, central banks will likely cut rates. So they'll start cutting rates maybe ahead of a recession to try to boost the economy, to stop it from heading into a hard landing or a deep recession, and try and get a soft landing and try to even avoid a recession. And stagflation is when you have rising inflation but a contracting economy. Now, we should know by now, watching all the videos, is that when inflation is increasing, that is normally when you have the recovery, the expansion, or the boom phase, or the peak phase of the economic cycle. And when inflation is falling, that's normally occurs during the contraction, recession, bust slump phase of the economic cycle. Now, so when you have inflation rising, but you have the economy contracting or potentially going into a recession, that's what's known as stagflation, and that is a major issue for a central bank. It's basically the worst of both worlds. So, if inflation is rising above their 2% target, that's obviously an issue. Now, normally, again, as we know, central banks will tend to hike if inflation is going above their 2% target. But if the economy is heading into a recession, then hiking rates is going to make things a lot more difficult, and it might accelerate the recession, because by increasing borrowing and lending rates, during the economy making money more expensive, you can't boost the economy. The economy actually needs cheaper money, it needs lower interest rates. So, you know, again, lower interest rates is fine, but what happens is that lower interest rates tend to boost, or I say boost, but they will tend to contribute to rising inflation, right? Because by making money cheap and devalued, because that's what uh, uh, lowering interest rates is doing, is by lowering interest rates, you're trying to counter deflation, which is an expensive currency, by making yeah, which is an expensive uh, uh, inflation is basically an expensive currency. You're trying to counter expensive an appreciation of your currency by making the currency cheaper. So if you're making the currency cheaper, that's going to, by cutting rates, then you're going to make inflation rise again. So it's a catch 22 situation that you're in, where what do you do? Do you hike rates and and make the economy you know even worse, right? You can't stimulate the economy, or do you cut rates and risk uh, making inflation get out of hand, right? And rise inflation. So stagflation is basically the worst of both worlds for a central bank. And so, again, the headlines, this is a headline. It says Treasuries plunge like it's 1995 as traders see soft landing. So 2 year yields jumped 34 basis points since the Fed meeting. Resilient economy limits room for rate cuts as election looms. So this now actually should make a lot more sense when we figure out why uh, you know um, treasuries prices are plunging and yields are jumping, right? Because if traders see a soft landing, meaning that less rate cuts are coming, yeah, it means that yields which move in, have kind of forecast, or they move in the same direction as rate cuts, they will end up, if yields are going down and now indicating that there is going to be rate cuts, right? And then in fact you've got data that shows that in fact there might be less rate cuts, yields are going to go higher because there's less need for rate cuts, right? So that's why the 2 year yields have jumped by 34 basis points. Yeah, so there's going to be less cuts, or cuts need to be priced out of the market. Yeah, because we see a resilient economy, and the resilient economy means that there's less need for rate cuts. Remember, rate cuts are supposed to stimulate the economy, but the economy doesn't need stimulating, doesn't need rate cuts because it's quite resilient. Yeah, so you can see how this real life example of how the economy, GDP, and the business cycle, and yields, as well as rate cuts and interest rates, yeah, they all tie in together. Yeah, so you're seeing that right there in that headline. So hopefully you can understand these headlines now. And the market theme and narratives influence technical and positioning factors. So, a strong narrative attracts speculative flows, momentum trades, and hedging activity for the smart money that understand what's going on. And positioning can get crowded. For example, long dollars and narrative shifts can trigger sharp reversals. So, narratives can pop up out of nowhere. Of course, they typically should be driven by data, but you may have, for example, a risk off narrative that all of a sudden we could be in a risk off environment. Donald Trump all of a sudden announces maybe some sort of tariff situation with Europe, or there could be another war somewhere. So these, or even a banking crisis, right? And that could be the main narrative. So those types of things can shift sharp reversals, not just in the dollar, but for example, if you're long on the Australian dollar and all of a sudden risk off comes into the market, that will shift the narrative from risk on to risk off. And so there's positioning factors, technical factors that would need to be taken into place. So if the market is positioned heavily long, you can get things like short squeezes, long squeezes, and things like that. And real world example in 2023, even as the US inflation cooled, the resilient US economy narrative kept the dollar strong because markets believed the Fed would keep rates higher for longer. It wasn't just the data, it was the storyline investors believed. So, in short, currencies are not just priced on fundamentals, but how those fundamentals are interpreted. That's key. And narratives act like the lens through which all data is viewed. And again, you see an example of that. US growth accelerates to 2.4 on resilient consumers and companies. And that was what was happening in 2023. So that was the headline and the narrative that was being what was supporting the the US dollar, because, of course, again, we know that if the economy is strong and resilient, the Fed, um, you know, won't need to necessarily cut rates, and they could actually keep rates higher for longer. So, correlation does not imply causation is our final video in the series. And so let's get into that in the next video.